Nandalala Madhyoli Charanam. Today's topic, we're going to talk about this Nayanmar. I love talking about Nayanmars. I know you all do too. You all love to listen about Nayanmars. I think we learn what Bhakti is from these great devotees of Lord Shiva. And it's like lessons for us, how to be in, how to behave, how to lead a life. Everything is beautifully portrayed in each of their lives for us. And thanks to them. And it's sad that not many know about these Nayanmars. And let's get to know today about Ilayaangudi Maara Nayanmar. He's called Ilayaangudi Maara. That's his name. And he's from Ilayaangudi. That is why the place is attached to his name. He is from a village called Ilayaangudi in Tamil Nadu. Now, he's a great devotee of Lord Shiva. When I say great devotee, you'll know exactly why. And this particular Nayanmar was all about serving other devotees of Lord Shiva. So he believed that by serving other devotees of the Lord, he's serving the Lord himself. Wow. Isn't that something? Huh? Another devotee of Lord Shiva is Lord Shiva himself, kind of thing. So what would he do? He was a farmer, very successful farmer. The Lord had given him abundance. When the Lord gives, he gives a lot. And it's sometimes he gives it to the right people. When I say sometimes, you know what I mean. And here, he had given it to the right person because he used all that wealth, all those possessions to serve the Lord's devotees. Now, this is why I said he gave it to the right person. His usual day was feeding the Lord's devotees, serving them every possible way. So his door was always open. And every day, so many people came and ate at his place. It was like a feast. He used to serve everybody. So he had this thing in his mind that every day he had a number. This certain devotees have to be fed. And he did that, whatever said and done, because Ilayaangudi had a temple there, Lord Shiva's temple. So people came to visit that temple, So after visiting, where would they go? See, nowadays we have hotel, places to stay, right? But this Nayanmar opened his doors. His doors were open as a shelter place for them to come and rest, for them to come and take a nap or get something to eat. He used to provide everything. Towels, they can take a shower. Think about it. His doors were open. So he would recognize the Shiva Bhakta. Now everything is word of mouth, People used to say, oh, Ilayaangudi Maara, he would take care of you. If you go to Ilayaangudi, go to Maranar's house, knock his door, he will take care of you. So this was how word spread that if you go to this place, you go to Maranar's house, he will take care of you. So everybody obviously landed up in his place. And he was, sometimes we all get overwhelmed if somebody keeps coming home every day, right? Think about it. And his wife always cooking. We have seen this when we talk about Nayanmars, how the Lord provides the right spouse. In all their cases, in all their stories, haven't we seen that the wife was so supportive? She's also a big devotee of Lord Shiva. And her service was not for her husband. It was for the Lord. So she also did it for the Lord. Open arms, like every time we have seen whatever Nayanmar we have discussed in the past, the wives were all supportive in that journey, that bhakti journey that the husband took up. The wives were in it. It was not like they were in it because of the husband. They were in it because they were also a devotee of the Lord. And that's incredible. Same thing here. So the wife was so supportive. She cooked. She was the one in the kitchen. So there was a time when they were very wealthy. So they had servants to help. They had people to help in the kitchen. So it was not just herself, but there were people around to help her. Now, every day they're feeding so many people. Obviously, the wealth is going to go away. And the Lord, He's watching all this. He sees how his devotee is serving all his devotees. And he's very happy. Happily, he's watching the scene unfolding in front of him. And he's very, very proud of his devotee, Maranar. Now, when you're doing good, when you're in the limelight, especially for the Lord, He has to come and give the extreme test so that He knows. Obviously, that test is because He knows you're going to win it. You're going to pass it. And it's a way of showing the world, look at my devotee. Learn from him. So he becomes a role model for everybody. Like we're talking about him today because the same reason, right? So the Lord is testing him now. What does He do first? He takes away all his wealth. He makes it a point where Ilayaangudi Maara Nayanar loves to feed people. Now to feed people, you need money, right? You need to buy stuff. You need to make it. All that you need money. Without wealth, how can you feed people? He takes that away. But still he doesn't let go. He feeds the number kind of lessons, but he still continues to feed people. From 100, now it is 10. But he's still feeding 10 people. What would people do? They may stop feeding. Okay, now I don't have much. Let me provide for myself. So they'll stop feeding. It's fine. It's okay. It's normal. But Maranar was a different league. He did not stop. That did not stop. He believed that his wealth was not his wealth. He believed whatever was his all belonged to Lord Shiva. Nothing was his. So who is he to keep it to himself? So he gave it away. So he fed people. He provided for every devotee who walked in. Anybody with a Rudraksha Mala and Vibhuti on their forehead, welcome inside. He would wash their feet. He would treat them as if the Lord entered. Everybody with Vibhuti and Rudraksham were treated like the Lord himself. Provided everything. And he would take them out, lead them outside, and he would walk with them for a few kilometers and then sit by and then come back home. This is the seva. It's called the Maheshwara Puja. He would do that to every devotee of Lord Shiva. Maheshwara Puja is what? He would prostrate in front of them. That is, do namaskaram to them. And he washes their hand and feet. And he'll drink that water. And giving them a seat to sit, he'll worship them with flowers. Yeah, this is a level high, right? That is what he did to every devotee. Now, of course, the Lord took his wealth away. Didn't stop him from feeding. There was a point that even Maranar or his wife had nothing to eat. It was such a bad time that they had nothing to eat that day, and it was heavily raining outside. They were hungry, but Maranar's wife, she brought a glass of water. Punitavadi was her name. She got a glass of water and she gave it to Maranar. She says, Swami, the Lord has provided us with only this today. So she doesn't say we don't have that, we don't have this. Do you see how she beautifully says it? He has provided us with this today. So they drink that glass of water and the lamp, oil lamp, they just switch it off to go to sleep. As soon as they hit their heads hit the pillow, somebody knocks at the door and it's heavily raining outside. Somebody knocks the door. And who is that? Not anybody else, the Lord himself. I told you, right? The test, the day of the test. He has taken everything from them. Now he comes to their doorstep. Knocks at the door. Maranar and the wife are tensed. My God, who is this? Who could this be? What if it is a devotee? We don't have anything to provide for him. So the wife says, don't worry. Just go open the door. Let's see what happens. Now he goes and opens the door and he sees this beautiful, so much color, so much tejas. This person is standing outside. Lord, of course. Of course, the Lord is. Do I have to say anything more? Huh? You can imagine Lord Shiva, if he's standing there, you'll know it's Lord Shiva. Beaming. That beautiful Lord. He's standing there with Patta Vibhuti and Rudraksha Malai. Like a sadhu, he's standing there. An old Brahmin. He says, are you Maranar? And Maranar says, yes, I'm Maranar Swami. Please come in. He says, people here were talking about you. They said you are a big, generous Dharala Prabhu. He says, see the word you used, the Lord himself, he called his devotee Dharala Prabhu. Everybody here calls you a big, generous man. I believe you serve everybody. You give them shelter. Is it possible that I get something to eat today? He says. Doesn't the Lord know they have nothing? He knows. Like I said, it's a test. When the test comes from the divine, it's not very easy. But for a devotee, it's a cakewalk, right? Nayanar was inside, he's very tensed. But he says, please come in, Swami. I'm so happy you came here. And he makes him sit down in a seat. He gives him a very tattered towel because he has nothing else. He gives him a towel. He says, please wipe yourself dry. I will get you something to wear, something dry to wear. And he goes inside and he picks up one veshti that has lesser stain on it. And he brings it to the sadhu and he gives it, please wear this. And he says, make yourself comfortable. I will go and get something for you to eat. Then he rushes inside and he tells his wife, Punidavati, we have to do something. What do we do? So both are sitting there. Punidavati immediately runs inside the kitchen and she sees every pot is wiped clean. Every pot is wiped clean, empty. She sits there and she says, my Lord, what do I do? How do I? This is like a mother who wants to, a mother who wants to provide for her child, but she doesn't. That kind of ekam, that kind of dukkam she had. What do I do? That's when she remembered that morning. They had sowed some grains in the field. So she tells her husband, Nayanar, to go and fetch it and come. In that rain. So she says, it's raining heavily outside. So the grains would have all come up. And when you soak the grains, they all come up, right? In the rain, because of the rain, they'll be floating. So she says, go and just take those grains and come. So he says, okay, I'll do that. So he takes this basket, and he goes. Think about it. Those days, there's no electricity, no power. It's late at night, windy, rain. You must be thinking, for a mere guest, they could have easily told him there's no food. Right? No, but their only goal was to serve the Lord's devotees. So when your goal is that, you've set your priorities, This is it. This is your life. He took that basket and he ventured out into the fields. So many people will be thinking, oh, what about snakes and that and this, wild animals, whatever, right? But no such fears. He went and he could feel all, there's no light. He's just with his hands, he's feeling on top. He, finds those grains and he picks up with the mud, everything. He comes and he comes with all that in the basket and he fills it and he comes home. In the kitchen, she's doing all that cleaning, she takes up all the grains. She washes it. And then she fries it. And she makes it, powders it, and then she cooks it. Before she cooks it, there's no wood. There's no wood to cook it. She realizes she wants to cook it and there's no wood. For the fire, you need wood. So she tells him, I don't have wood to cook this rice. So now they're thinking again what to do. Then she says, you know what? The wood on top of the hut, right? Every hut has this wood, right? Placed on it. She says, take 1 or 2 out. It's okay, we'll manage. She says from which point to take so that even if the water leaks in, it will not disturb the sadhu. It will not disturb the devotee. Even if our rooms flood, it's okay. See how they think. How considerate. It's like always the devotee's well-being is in the mind, not their well-being. It's how comfortable they can keep the devotee of the Lord. Incredible. So now he pulls that wood out slowly. And he gives it to her. She chops it in. She lights the fire. And now the rice is getting done. Then she realizes, I cannot give him plain rice. We need some side, like something, some vegetables, something on the side. You know what? We had put some spinach, kire. They must have grown little, So bring that. So she tells her husband, go bring that. You may find some baby sprouts, spinach leaves grown. Just pluck all that and bring it. I'll make something with kire, she says, with spinach. So he says, okay. And he goes again to the backyard. And he plucks those leaves, whatever was there. And he brings it and she cooks up a beautiful meal. And she said, everything is set in a plate. They have tripti, they're satisfied. See, they have not eaten. The beauty is they have not eaten. They just had a glass of water and they were going to sleep. Now they've cooked a grand meal for this devotee, for the Lord, who they believe is a devotee of the Lord. And they've cooked this grand meal for him. And they both come to serve it. And they see that there's nobody there. But there's this jyoti kind of a flame, in that spot that he was sitting. There's this unusual kind of flame. Beautiful jyoti. And on top of the jyoti is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And suddenly they see this beautiful vision of the Lord, Parvati, sitting on the Nandi. Beautiful vision. All of them have come. Amma and Appa have come on top of Nandi to give him the beautiful darshan. They're so pleased with him. See, they passed the test. I told you the test is given only to devotees who can pass. Not everybody. So he comes in front of these two and he says, I'm so pleased. Nayanar, I'm so pleased with your devotion, your bhakti. Both of you will find a place in my heart. The Lord says, you both are going to come with me. I'm here to take you both. See, that's a gift, getting salvation like that. Both of them. So that is it. Their life is made. This is what is achievement. When we talk about that Nobel Prize, that, this, that, no. This is This is you cannot put a name on it. You cannot put a price on it. You cannot put there is no cups or saucers for this. This is beyond all that. No medals. This is beyond all that. This is priceless. This is what we have to attain. Attaining the Lord's feet. Going through this severe test and passing and getting that feet is what it is. That's the actual medal. And they got it. They attained mukti, and this talam, because of that, has become very famous. Ilayaangudi is known for the place that Maranar and his wife attained salvation and mukti. A place where he was born, place where he grew up, and a place where he attained mukti. That's why this talam is very, very significant. Now here, the Lord is called Rajendra Shoreshwaran. And it's a beautiful temple built by the Sholas. And it's 2000 years old. And the Ambal is called Jnanambikai. And devotees offer Annadanam here because of the same reason. Because of Maranar, right? He was the Annadana Prabhu. So that is what he was called by the villagers here. And Ilayaankudi Maara has a separate shrine in this temple. And the Tirtham here is Deva Pushkarani. And the Vriksham, Sthala Vriksham is Vilvam in this temple. And Maranar and his wife Punitavadi, they are seen, their Utsava Murtis, they are also here in this temple. They have a spot, they have a separate shrine in this temple. And during one day, that is Guru Puja day, both the husband and wife, that is Maranar and his wife Punitavadi, will also come in procession with the Lord and Ambal. So they join the procession along with them on this only day, Guru Puja day. And that day, the Nevedyam that is offered to the Lord and Ambal is Tandikirai, same thing that the wife made for the Lord the day he visited their house. So the same rice and Tandikirai is the Nevedyam that day. Now Maranar's home and the land he cultivated, this crop that was fed to the Lord, is also right there. So if you visit this temple, you can see all this right there. It will be there for you. Now, they also practice the same thing that Maranar did, the Annadanam. That is a big deal in this temple. So everybody, whoever go visit this temple, they do not come out without donating for Annadanam. That is a big thing in this temple. Now, there's another story that Lord Indra was cursed by a sage. So he built a lot of, he installed a lot of lingams here and there, you know. And here, he installed one lingam. So this is a place where he installed a lingam. And this is also a mukti sthalam. Obviously, because Maranar and his wife attained mukti here, it's called a mukti sthalam also. And in those days, in ancient days, this place is called the Indra Avatara Nallur. This place was called Indra Avatara Nallur because Indra installed a lingam here. Now, Murugan is here with Devasena. You will see the Murugan with Devasena, and it's a Swayambhu lingam. And the lingam is facing east and Ambal is facing south. Now, this is about this beautiful temple. And people pray here. They come here to pray for food security. Whatever it is, everyday meal is needed, right? Nobody should go hungry. We all take that for granted. That everyday meal, that putting bread on the table is so vital. It's so important. Right? So that is what everyone come to pray here. Thank you for that meal you provide every day. Right? Before you eat, how many of us close our eyes and say thank you? It's very important. Because that grain, whatever it is, He's providing. It's provided by Him. So it's our duty to thank Him every time we sit to eat. And we should enjoy that meal. Should not look at the phone or any device and have that meal. All that respect for that meal. Watching TV and eating, big no. Ambal doesn't like it. When she was here, I remember somebody mentioning it to me who have kids, of a small age. We all do that, don't we? To keep them entertained. We put the TV on and then put the food on the table and then they sit and eat it, watching their cartoons or whatever. She said, no, don't do that. So that's how I know that she has said it actually. But after reading all these scriptures, for a different reason, I understand that you have to respect that food. The food is provided for us every day by the Lord Himself. So we have to give respect, take our time, enjoy every bit, small bit that we put in our mouth. We enjoy it and we eat it with a lot of gratitude. Now, there's another story about this charity, seva, service, from Amma's book. The book is Enlightenment. I'm not sure if anybody has read it, but that book has beautiful stories in it, Amma's book. And this particular story is in chapter 9. It's called Charity Wins Honor. And this story is about a gambler. And his full-time job is gambling. He loves to gamble. There's nothing else he does. Just gamble, gamble, gamble. Now he never loses. So at least when you lose, then you give up gambling, right? This is how the God gives, right? He gives something, He gives a lot. So He gave this gambler that, the gift of gambling, if I may. So he gambled every day. He won every day. He never lost. Now, one day, what did he do? He doesn't know how to save his money, though. He gambles and he wins, but he doesn't know how to save that money or use that money for something good. No, nothing of that sort. He'll use the same money and gamble again. So it was kind of used for the same reason again and again. More gambling, more gambling. So one fine day, he took all that money and he spent it on drinking. He drank so much that day that he wanted to go and visit a woman, a prostitute. So he was, staggering here and there. He was like a drunkard, swaying and walking. And he toppled and he fell on the streets, unconscious. didn't know where he was. Suddenly he gained consciousness and he saw his whole outfit, everything was wet in dirt. He looked so tattered and he felt very embarrassed. He was not happy with himself. He was not proud of what he had done. Now before that, he had bought a lot of, because he was going to see this prostitute, he had bought a lot of gifts, to give it to her. All that in a bag. And with that, he fell. So when he got up, he had all this. He saw everything was in the mud. He felt miserable. He was repenting why he did all this. Why did he have to drink? Why did he have to walk like this? Why did he have to fall? So he was repenting all this. That's a good thing, Mistakes happen. But then how many of us sit and think about rewinding and seeing our path and saying, okay, I did wrong. Okay, I did a mistake. That's a blessing, Mistakes can happen. But thinking that, okay, I'm wrong, that is something, that is a blessing. Once he thought about, okay, I made a mistake, he immediately spotted a Shiva temple. See the timing? The minute you say, I'm wrong, it's like a bulb, the light. He sees the temple. Now he wants to go there. Somehow he picks himself up and he walks towards the temple. And he looks at this Lord in the Sannidhi and he had tears rolling down his eyes. It's like, so why is he crying? Just happens, right? Bhakti is all about tears. Immediately something happens and he puts all his earned money from gambling, everything that he had in his suit pocket, everything, he dumps it into under the Lord's feet, there, under the lingam. And whatever he bought for that lady also, all those bags he put it. The Lord will take everything. He's not going to get insulted. Oh, you bought it for her, you're now giving it to me. No. Everything is his only anyway. So he dumps everything under the lingam. And he's feeling so light now. It's like sometimes that feeling of lightness, when you go and tell all your troubles to the Lord, you feel that lightness. That's what he felt. As if he had put all the burden down there, And then he comes back. And a few days after that, his life was about to end. He didn't know that though. He didn't know that his life is going to end. But then this is what he did 2 days before that. And then of course, suddenly one fine day, Yama's assistants are there. Lord Yama, right? Lord Yama is the one who's the Lord of death. He'll come on time. And it's time, he'll be there. So here the assistants are here to take him. With all due respect, they come. They're like, we're here to take you. So he goes with them quietly. They escort him to Lord Yama's place. And there he is, the majestic Lord Yama, looking at him, examining him. The minute he looked at him, he could see all the evil deeds he has done, like a movie, you know. Everything was like as if you're watching a big screen movie, right? Now, this gambler, in his mind, he knew that he was done because he knew what he has done in his life, what achievements he has done in his life. Nothing worthy. So he was thinking, my God, I'm in trouble. I'm in doomsday. I know. Everybody has said that if you do evil deeds, you're going to go to hell. And I know I'm going to hell. He's thinking all this. Now, who does he talk to? Assistants are all very stern. He can't go complain to them. He can't go and tell his concerns to them. And Lord Yama is watching him with hawk eyes, watching this movie, you know, in front of him. All that this man has done. Everything is coming one by one, scene after scene. Now he says, well, looks like you have not done anything good. That's what Yama says, Lord Yama. He says, okay, this is the judgment. He announces it. The judgment is not good. Just like he thought everything is torture, hell. So the doors of the righteous world are closed for you, Lord Yama says. You will have to go to hell and undergo a lot of pain and torture. And the man is like, oh God, I thought and it happened. Now still the gambler is not losing hope. He has this little faint hope still, you know, still alive in him. So he humbly asks, folded arms. He's like, I've been responsible for many vicious things, I know. But Swami, have I not done even one good deed? He says. Look at that, huh? Even one good deed? One or two? He's pushing it, right? So Lord Yama is thinking, And before that, he says, can I not reap the fruits of those good deeds? Gamblers asking, please have mercy on me. Yaman is listening. And Lord Yama says, okay, one person can look into your accounts, life accounts. And we'll see. And he tells his assistants to call Chitraguptan. Chitraguptan is never wrong, you know. He has everything written down. Day, time, events, everything is like, you cannot miss anything. So Chitraguptan comes with his big notebook and all that. And he sits there and he's like flapping over the pages. And then he says, Yaman says, this man says he may have done one or two good deeds. Let's see if he has anything. Can you tell me? Now Chitraguptan looks at it and he's like very carefully looking at it. And he says, a few days before he died, he has gone and offered a lot of stuffs to Lord Shiva. He has gone and put all his wealth and whatever he won to the temple. He has gone and left it under the lingam. Now, while he did that, little bit sandalwood also he has offered. Now, the sandal paste makes you, he looks at the gambler, it makes you eligible to even be the king of heaven for 72 minutes, he says. Think about that. That sandal paste he had bought for that woman, that somehow came and fell in the Lord's feet. Think about that. That sandal paste, Chitragupta has noted down. And that sandal paste is what helped him now. According to him, he says, he's eligible to be the king of heaven for 72 minutes. The gambler's mouth is like open. Did you say king of heaven? And Chitragupta is like, yes. So you're eligible to be king of heaven because you gave sandal paste to the temple. Did you know that? That's how great it is. Now the gambler was delighted. He said, in that case, Swami, can you grant me permission to enjoy this first in heaven, and then I will go through the torture later? So Lord Yaman says, so be it. 72 minutes is yours. Now he sent a word through his assistants that this man will be ruling heaven for 72 minutes. Who's the Lord? Who's the king of heaven? Huh? Indran. Now, Yaman's assistants, they lead this gambler into Lord Indra's place, and there Brihaspati is there, and they give this note to Brihaspati, and he sees this, and he's like, okay. And he informs Lord Indra, saying, this man will be taking over your throne for 72 minutes, and you will have to step down for that time. Lord Indra is not very happy. It's like, okay, whatever. And he walks away. 72 minutes, right? So he doesn't care. So, and he says, you can resume your position after 72. So he goes away. Now this man is sitting on the throne now. He's the king. This gambler is the king for 72 minutes. Very precious. Now he looks around. So much shine and bling all around him. Lord Indra's, Indraloka is not ordinary. It's full of shine and glitter everywhere. He looks around and he sees this beautiful white elephant, Airavata. Now he thinks, closes his eyes, and he thinks of Lord Shiva. And he says, how much ever I can, I'm going to do charity work in these 72 minutes. See, that's what it is. When he got all that with him in that 72 minutes, he's the king of heaven. He could do anything. But instead he closed his eyes and thought of Lord Shiva. And he said, I want to do charity as much as I can from here. He looks around and he sees Airavata. It's a beautiful elephant. Now he goes and gives the elephant to Sage Agastya as a gift. He says, yeah, you keep this. And he comes back. And then he gives Ucheshravas, the white horse of Lord Indra, to Sage Vishwamitra. And then he sees Kamadhenu. He sees Kamadhenu and gives it to Vasishta. And then he sees this gem, Chintamani. He gives it to Kalava Maharshi. Now the 72 minutes that was given to him is coming to an end slowly. Just then, there was a Rishi, Kaudinya Rishi, who just walked in. What did he do? Immediately, he gave the Kalpaka Vriksham to this Rishi, who just walked in. He said, you can have this tree, and he gave the Kalpaka Vriksham. The time was done. Over. The gambler got off the throne, walked away, because he knows that time is done. Now, when Lord Indra came back to take his throne, Devaloka was not the same. It looked empty. Everything was like wiped out, cleaned. He's sitting and looking and it's like, what just happened? And he was so angry, furious, he stormed into Yamaloka. Everything happened because of Lord Yama, right? So he went there. He's like, Yama, what did you do? Who did you send? This fool who sat on my throne. He was so angry. He just gave away all my stuffs. He gave away all my expensive stuffs, he says. You know Indra, right? He's very fond of his stuff. He's very materialistic. It's all about getting the best and keeping it, preserving it, showing off. This is Indra. Amaravati city is empty now, he says. And he's crying. He's in tears. So Yama, Lord Yama is laughing. It's like, Devendra, even after this long, you're so attached, he says. You're so attached to your kingdom. You're so attached to your throne. Your attachment has not diminished over the years, he says. Now, do you know what a good deed this man has done? Sitting on your throne for 72 minutes, he has accomplished something that even you have not accomplished over this time, he says, Lord Indra. After all that yagnam and all that sacrifices that you do, this man has done it in 72 minutes, he says. Though we gave him the throne of the heaven, his mind did not get swayed, even for a second. He only thought of doing for others. And he did it. For that, you have to really applaud this man. Instead, you're coming and crying about your stuff. You can always go to the rishis and ask it back. They will give it to you. They're not like you, you know, he says. Just explain the situation and you can take your possessions back from them, he says. Lord Indra's like, okay, and he leaves. He's only bothered about his stuff. So now that he can take his possessions back, he's very happy. So he leaves. Now the gambler, he got away with all those punishments. He got released of all those punishments. Why? Because of charity. Because of all the good deeds he did. Charity is the biggest thing. Charity holds the biggest seat. That is what Ambal is trying to give us a message through this beautiful story. Charity wins honor. It's not a small honor. It's not honor by any human being or any institute or any organization. It's honor by the divine self. When you go there, the honor you get is something different. That is priceless. Now, in his next birth, because of what he did, in his next birth, he was born as King Bali. You all know Bali, right? Who's Bali? After all, the grandson of Prahalada, the great Prahalada. So he's the grandson of Prahalada. So the most of the time, Bali as a kid has spent most of his time with Prahalada because his grandfather only brought him up. Always listening to Lord Vishnu stories. He grew up. King Bali. Though he was a king of Asuras, he was the most righteous, most generous. You go and ask him anything, give it to you. That's how generous Bali was. And that's why the Lord came as the Vamana Avataram, and that beautiful story where he asks for 3 pieces of land. And we all know what happened, right? He grants it, not knowing that it's the Lord. Beautiful story. And Bali was so lucky, right? So fortunate to be the king chosen for this. The Lord chose him, not anybody else. Because he was so generous, because he will not say no. Again, another test. And he won it. He won the test. Now that is a beautiful session on charity and how big. It's not just the deed, how you do it. It's like the willingness and without anything holding you back. It's just like the Nayanar family, how they, even though they did not have anything to eat, they wanted to feed whoever walked in their door. Charity is when you don't think about yourself, but the other person. Always giving. Giving more than you take. Jai Nandalala Madhya Vichara.